Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Planet Nerdtooine podcast, where we do a collection of comic book-related content. We do reviews. We talk about happenings in the comic book industry and anything you might need to know. So if that's your kind of jam, like, share, subscribe. It really helps the channel out. And without further ado, let me bring on my esteemed co-host, Year of the Collector.
You forgot to say we talk shit. That's what we do here.
Well, so I want to trick them. I don't want them to know we talk shit. So then then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, what happened? Speaking of talking shit, we're going to talk a little shit here at the beginning of this episode because Marvel did a thing. They really decided to like stir the pot, and I don't know if it's in a good way. What do you think here?
Okay, let me premise this whole segment by saying, fuck Joe Quesada. No, I'm playing. Listen. I'm gonna use all of our F-bombs in this first segment. So just you've been warned. No, listen. One of the most, I guess, divisive stories that Marvel has put out in like the last 25 years was One More Day, right? That story where is a Spider-Man story where Aunt May was dying and Mephisto offers Peter Parker a deal. I can save your aunt from dying, but in return, you have to sacrifice your marriage with MJ, right? That was by Joe Quesada. And I know nowadays, most of the people that work on that book, they want to wash their hands from it and they say they had nothing to do with it. But it was by Joe Quesada. He is on the record saying that he grew up with Spider-Man being single, and that was like the heyday of Spider-Man for him. So now that he was the editor-in-chief, he wanted Peter to go back to that status quo, right? We've been there ever since, right? And a lot of other things have been affected because of that, like stunted the progression of Peter Parker as a character. Like writers have had a mandate that even though if they may change the status quo during their run as a creative team, by the end it has to like come back to like this starting point, right? So with that being said, once I saw that Joe Quesada was coming back to write Marvel comics and a Black Panther comic, I was like, oh man, I don't know how. I don't know, because he hasn't done anything in Marvel since he left DC. He worked on the MCU in Marvel Studios. They had like this little group of Marvel heads that were like a thinking tank for Feige, and even that fell apart because of the egos of the people in that group. And Joe Quesada was one of them. So I was a little on the fence. I was like, I don't know about this. And then I saw that Christopher Priest was going to be the main writer for this Black Panther comic, right? And it's called The World to Come. It's from the Marvel Knights brand of the Marvel side of the publishing house. And I was like, okay, Christopher Priest is one of the best Black Panther writers, I don't know, in the last 40 years. So I was like, okay, this should be on safe hands, right? Book comes out. I don't pick it up because it doesn't make my budget, right? I have like, a budget, and if it's not something I can justify putting on the budget to take something out, it didn't make the budget. That's the short of it. And then before I got home with my books, I was already seeing people spoiling the reveal at the end of the book that there is a white character that is set to become Black Panther in this story. Okay. Number one, this is an alternate ending, or the other kind of like the alternate ending of a story or of the story arcs that Priest was working on back in the day, right? He hasn't been on Black Panther for years. So this is him coming back, finishing his story the way he wants to, right? In just an alternate timeline, right? This is not main continuity or anything like that.
Right.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, if you are a fan of Black Panther comics, if you read, or if you're familiar with the lore or the history of Black Panther, you know this is not the first time that a Caucasian or a white passing character has done the mantle or the costume or the suit or has been affiliated to Black Panther, Wakanda, or anything in that regards, right? Um, we have had um, like the White Wolf character, right? This
Hmm.
was a white guy that was adopted by T'Challa to be his like brother, and he ended up becoming a sort of Black Panther adjacent character. He had like similar abilities and a soup capabilities as Black Panther, but he was called the White Wolf, right? The white guy that wore a white looking Black Panther suit, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Guy has been a villain at some point. He's been a good guy at some point. Like he's like the adopted troubled brother of T'Challa, right?
Right.
White guy. Okay. And also you have had there was this story of this mixed race police officer from New York that stole a Black Panther suit, and then he was going as Black Panther in New York City, to fight crime and do some other sort of things, right? He was designed to be and look as a mixed character, but skin wise, ethnicity wise, he looked like a white guy, right?
Right.
So we that's another example of a white guy being a Black Panther. Um, Back in the day, you had General Ross or Everett Ross infiltrate Wakanda in a Black Panther costume, right? That's like a whole nother entry
Right.
lore of into the list of like white characters that had a Black Panther suit at one point. 20 some years ago, or like 20 ish years ago, in the original Ultimate Universe, you have Steve Rogers donned the Black Panther mantle for a while so he can relieve T'Challa so he could go back home because he didn't want to stay with the Ultimates, right? That's another example, another version of a white character being Black Panther. So, like, nobody that's a fan, nobody that's familiar, nobody that has been following Black Panther lore for years is shocked to see this.
Right.
Nobody that's read a Christopher Priest book before, or that knew any of these other characters as Black Panther, or that were Black Panther at some point, went to the internet to like shout it to the masses, so to make a big deal about it, because it's literally not, right? The only people that was out here on Beyonce's internet were like your rage baiters, your 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 red pillars, your your neurotics, your Star Wars theories, like those sort of folks take to the internet just to stir up the masses, right? Like,
Right.
oh look,
Yep.
and he went from, oh, there's a character called Ketema or Ketema that is a son. We don't know yet how, but he's the son of T'Challa. That now
Yeah.
that T'Challa is dead, he's coming to Wakanda to become the Black Panther and possibly the king of Wakanda, right?
Well, I mean, so I didn't read the whole issue. I as myself also didn't pick it up because I have a budget as well. Um, but I did see that he did defeat him, but left him alive. So he did challenge him for the mantle of Black Panther, beat T'Challa, and then but still left him alive. Then he died later, shortly after that. So like he has earned, like for all intents and purposes,
right.
he's literally earned, according to their uh, um, laws and what they believe in. He is the Black Panther.
Yeah, according to the custom
Yeah,
in the tradition of the Black Paint of the king of
he's
Wakanda, right?
he's
They
got the
always
blood and he won
he
the
got the
fight.
he got the blood. He challenged for the throne and he won. So he's the rightful heir to the throne, right? But my issue is not with the story. It's not with Christopher Priest. It's not with Katema being white. None of that. My issue is with people that don't really care about this at all, that have no dog in this fight, but still come to forums or platforms to propagate racism or propagate anti-racism or have all these talking points that are just destructive to the community, right? Like,
now, real quick, hold on. To be clear, there is no such thing as anti-racism. It's just racism. For anyone who's listening, because I know a lot of people
that's why I
say
went
that.
like this.
Right. But I had to say it because like that's literally the definition of racism is what anti-racism.
Yeah.
No, it's just racism.
Or reverse racism, bro. No, there's
Wrong.
no such thing.
It's just racism.
So, so for example, some of the stuff I heard was like, oh, look at the liberals, or look at the Democrats, or look at the leftists, all mad because there's a White Panther now. We did it, boys. I was like, this is like the sixth one. What are you talking about?
So
like we know you haven't been here. Clearly we know this is not your thing. You're just coming to like own the lips or to push this narrative. Like, oh, look at like left people or liberals. They don't like it when they race swap black characters. Listen, buddy, nobody's being race swap. Like, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, nobody is being race swap, and that's like it. This is how far this shit got, right? It went from, owning the libs or trolling the libs or trolling people online or whatever the case, to spreading rumors of Ryan Gosling being casted as Black Panther in the MCU. I legit saw reports from sources that call themselves journalists or whatever.
Reputable sources.
Reporting that there were rumors that Ryan Gosling was being casted in the MCU.
So now all I'm going to say about that is, with Secret Wars coming up, they could pull a fast one and do that. I don't think they're going to do it, but I'm just saying, like, now more than ever, it's actually like not just a joke, like it's a legit possibility.
No, listen, 100% the possibility of seeing anybody be anything, it's going to happen in Secret Wars, right? Because it's like the climax of like all this multiverse stuff. Mm-hmm. But those rumors didn't come from Secret Wars, the movie.
Right.
They are spawning from the World to Come comic book.
So one thing I think this is slightly different than a lot of the other people who had donned the Black Panther costume, in the fact that he has royal blood and he actually beat T'Challa to be king of Wakanda. Like most people you mentioned, they were filling in as the Black Panther versus being the Black Panther and king of Wakanda.
Right.
So it is slightly different, but I agree. I feel like, so my opinion is it feels almost like they did it just to spark this to get people to buy it. Marvel.
Me, not Planet Nerdtooine, not Nerdtooine, me, Year of the Collector. I mean, that was Joe Quesada's doing. No, I don't have any proof of this. I also have no doubts that it was Joe Quesada, okay? So, because like of all the people in that room from that creative list of creators, the only one that will come out with a hacking idea like this one will be Joe Quesada. I'm sorry. He's a boomer, okay? I don't know what to tell you. You want to be a fan of his, right? You might like his work or whatever he's done that you appreciate, but he's a hack. I'm sorry. This has his name all over it, right? And the fact that he's credited as story for the story and the art, you can't convince me otherwise. I'm sorry.
And I'm not gonna try, first of all. I think we both know better than to try to really convince us of something we don't agree with, like with our, and we're not gonna talk about it on this show, but me and Year have been going at it about the Superman trailers. We'll get to that one day, I'm sure.
You know what I was thinking? And this whole like the whole debate with the Superman thing is part of the reason, but we don't do like this whole meet and greet in the beginning of the show like other people do. Like, hey man, what's up? How you doing? How's life? Blah blah. We don't do that because we be talking all day, every day about random stuff. It's
Yeah.
like the show ends and like 30 minutes later, we're talking about something
Yeah.
else. So
Well,
if you
and
wonder,
I do think that's part of the reason why when people even come on the show, that it's a different vibe because we really are like we were literally talking about Superman for like 4 hours
today,
today,
just
today through Discord about like a what 8-second trailer.
not even that.
Like it was literally one tiny little clip, and I was like, and you see, and it just took
Here's my dissertation why I think this way.
oh man. But yeah, so Marvel has a White Black Panther. We still don't really know how he's T'Challa's son. They're saying it's one like it's a relationship with is one of his old flings. He wanted to like keep his lineage going, and then but some people are saying that no, it's this other character that's supposed to be dead that he hooked up with many years ago. Like there's just so many things still up in the air. It's definitely going to be a rocky plane to land, but this is just the start of the story. So if you're interested in something like that, go ahead and pick it up. We're not saying don't buy it, don't get into it. If that's something that intrigues you, go get it. Like that's 100% your decision, and we wouldn't be like, oh, you see that guy that bought that? Oh, look at he's an idiot. No, I mean,
listen. At the end of the day, if you buy the book to own the lips with your white, with your copy of the White Black Panther, bro, good. Buy it, support it. It's all good. I'm
hey, all
just
it does is
saying,
help Marvel. I mean,
yeah. Hey, support those creators by all means. Spend your money like you want, but that's that's not gonna stop me from criticizing
right.
certain areas from the fandom, right, or anti-fans that take the opportunity to further certain agenda, right? Like that's
Right.
that's not gonna be cool with me. If you buy the book because you think it's funny, by all means, contribute to the economy the way you see fit. I'm not stopping you. I'm not telling you not to.
No, and again, I think it's kind of funny that both of us were just like, because I had seen the same reports, and then I went to a show on Antscollectibles. Shout out to Antscollectibles, one of the best whatnot people I've been dealing with for a while. His show is later, and I was like, ooh, maybe I should pick that up. I'm like, that's controversial. Like, and I'm just like, nah, like I can't do it. I can't do it. I just can't. Because I only buy books that I want either to read or to hold on to, and that's not something that appeals to me. So I mean, it was an easy pass for me. But we are going to talk about two different series that are pretty different. One's a Marvel title, one's a Image Comics independent book. uh, that we are 100% all in on. And I mean, I've bought every issue of Ultimate Wolverine. And so far I've bought, I mean, I not only bought issues of Exquisite Corpses, I actually did an exclusive for it. So that's how much I believed in it when I heard the story.
The best looking.
First,
I have a copy. I suggest you look into it because it's
I got
easily
him.
one of, if not the best looking variant cover from issue number 1.
Yeah, Alessandro Micelli absolutely just knocked that out the park. We did both Virgin and foils. They're immaculate. Like I'm so I couldn't have been happier with the product. But yeah, if you're interested, there will be a link in the bio to grab it.
Yeah. Listen,
But first,
listen, and I'm not just saying that. I have the main cover, I have the one in the Pollybag, and I have your variant. That's how much I like yours.
I thought so too. Like,
yeah.
I literally I've John from Encased Comics, I talk to him all the time about how like I'm never doing another exclusive. I'm just not doing it. And then this one came along. I was like, oh, damn. Yeah, I guess I'm doing another one. I have to. Because when he pitched it to me, he showed me some of like the sketches, and I was like, okay, that thing's badass. But enough selfish plugging of my book, my cover. We're gonna get started with Ultimate Wolverine. So we've already covered issues 1 through 4 of Ultimate Wolverine, glowing reviews. I mean, and I think our initial fears also were completely wrong. Like it started to almost come across in the earlier issues like it was going to be more about all these other supporting characters, and little by little, it's gotten even more deep down focus on Wolverine, and it's been so good. Issues 5 and 6 we'll be covering today. What are your first thoughts about Ultimate Wolverine 5 and 6?
I think you're right. To backtrack a little bit, the scope of the story became like very very broad. Like maybe we're like Wolverine, the Winter Soldier, like in the middle of it, but there was like all this other stuff that we're being shown and exposed to before it honed in and focus on James Howlett, Wolverine, and finally issues 5 and 6 um, basically center the story about the character, not the world building, not Eurasia, not the Rasputins, but the Winter Soldier, previously the Wolverine, right? And if you want to really jump into it, issue number 5, I thought it was not only an amazing choice, the way they expanded on Wolverine through the eyes of a friend, but also the confrontation of Sabertooth with the Winter Soldier, right? Like first off, I thought it was pretty cool. Like Sabertooth is like this old grizzly, bar owner that is also part of the opposition. He's like he's like a smuggler basically. Like hiding mutants, refugees to get them free. I thought that was cool, right? Like
he's basically one of the stops on the Underground Railroad for mutants.
Yes.
Like that's basically what it is,
right? And that's how we are introduced to him. Like this guy that's part of the underground network that we've seen already with like Kitty Pryde and Gambit and Black Widow, etc. And then there's this shot from the ground up where he's like taking out the trash and he sees the airplane flying above. And if you remember from the previous issues, that's how they drop the Winter Soldier for missions. So with immediately no parachute, right? Like, so immediately he's like, oh, like you could tell he knew something was up, right?
It was like, yo, they could be doing some scans. Like I think he knew. Like I think it was because this version of Sabertooth, I really, really, really liked. I mean, he had like this, he was, you know what he reminded me of? He reminded me of Wolverine in like the 90s animated series. Like he was cocky, but he was like doing these jokes. He was kind of a funny, aloof kind of character. And you don't normally see that from Sabertooth. Like Sabertooth is usually big, mean, angry. I'm going to kill you, bub. No, what does he call him? What does he call Wolverine again? Not Bub, not Kid. What is it? Oh man, Runt. There it is.
Runt.
Yeah, like I'm gonna kill you, Runt. Like that's the Sabertooth we're used to, and I loved this new take on the character. I thought it was brilliant, and their fight scene was so good because this is a long time, because we don't know if they're like blood related or anything like that, like they are in some comics. It wasn't much said, so they could be brothers, but it doesn't seem like. It seems more like just an old friend that used to fight as an X-Man with. Like it seems like Sabertooth was an X-Man at one point.
I don't know if they go by the X-Men. I know right now
didn't they have an X on, like when they were sitting on the fire in that flashback?
Yeah, they had. I'm gonna look into it right now.
I could have sworn it was an X.
It's like it looks like an X in one of the panels from the distance, but in the
Okay.
close-ups, it looks like two arms crossing
Okay,
each
so it's
other.
probably just a military force.
Yeah,
Okay, because when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, they were the X-Men together. That's awesome!"
but
Like,
that's still like it's not X-Men, but
and
it's a little Easter egg.
but when they did the fight scene, they made he made sure like that he was, because he kept talking to him as Logan. Like he was
Yes.
saying, "Logan, I know you're in there. This is not you." And he's like, "If I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna look you in the face." So the whole thing was him trying to rip off that mask.
Bro. So at first, Sabertooth is like, oh, so the rumors are truth. You've come back from the death. He's trying to like engage with him, and we realize that his friend, his brother in arms, is physically there, but something's missing. He picks it up immediately. He's like, "It's like you're here, but you're also not here."
Because he didn't attack, and when Wolverine blocked
Well,
it,
he
but
wouldn't
he
talk.
didn't.
He wouldn't talk back to him.
Like it was like just in his motions, he was like, "Okay, so this is you, but whatever they did to you, they've dumbed you down to not be able to do how you used to fight."
He said, maybe you really are dead. Then he says, not dead, but you ain't yourself. And he said, I say you're not yourself. When he sees him, like, so the Winter Soldier doesn't say anything. He just pulls out the claws, and Sabertooth says, I say you're not yourself at all.
No, and the fight scene was done really well. Like when he cut off his arm, and Wolverine cut off Sabretooth's arm. He then later in the issue used the stump that was regrowing to punch him with it.
He did the Piccolo. You remember?
Yo,
he had the arm like this, and they just.
I was like, yo, did he just punch him with the regrowing stump? Oh my god, that was awesome. And this whole idea of this Ultimate Wolverine, I was initially concerned, and I made that very clear, because like I love me some Wolverine. That's my guy. So and we said in the last critique we did that it was basically the character very well, but not the same character. And I think we're getting closer to the kind of Wolverine that we're used to. You can see it start to happen a little bit in issue 5, and then big time in issue 6 because of what we'll talk about in a second.
Right. I say Ultimate Wolverine is not a character but is made of a lot of different bits and pieces that you do know, right? Like you do know the Winter Soldier, you do know Weapon X, right? You do know Directorate X or Weapons Plus, right? Like all these little bits and pieces from the Marvel Universe were basically like plucked out and brought together to make not just the character, but like the story around it, right? The being mind control with like Russian words, getting his mind wiped after every mission. Because one thing is like we know that he went through like Directorate X, like they gave him, he was basically the only one that survived the whole adding of adamantium, right? And that's kind of like subtly shown, or at least it's in the text in issue 5, because when Sabretooth is talking about not that he's not sure if Wolverine is still there, when the claws come out, the claws are metal, right? And Sabretooth never seen that because he didn't have that before. So that's when he says, oh, you're not yourself at all, right? This is new.
Yeah.
Right. So I really like the campfire scene in issue 5, because at that point they were both in the opposition. They knew what they were up against, and Wolverine, and apparently this is something that happened before, not just like mutants being captured, but being submitted or subjugated through some type of experiments or projects or whatever, because Wolverine says to Sabretooth, if they catch me, don't let me be used against my own people.
Take me out.
Yeah, like promise me that you will take me out. You will not allow me to become like one of them or something like that. I can look it up really quick, but it's essentially like he said, I don't want to become one of them puppets. So I want you to promise me that you'll kill me.
Yeah, so he's definitely not the first
He's
person that that you know what? I bet you the symbol we were talking about earlier that I thought was an X is the resistance symbol, because in issue 6, which we'll talk more deeply in a second, they said welcome back.
yes.
You know what I mean? So like he was definitely at one point with them. But to wrap up, because we're going to move on to issue 6, issue 5, it was another example of how visceral Wolverine can be when you turn off the that good guy that he is deep down. He might be gruff, he might be, rough around the edges, he might not want to hug, but he is deep down a very good person. At
Yeah.
least what he's become. And what they've done really well in this series is the lettering, and I'm gonna definitely point that out again for issue 6. But like in the campfire scene specifically, because they're still fighting around this campfire scene. So like this is what he's talking about while he's fighting Wolverine. So like, and they've done that really well throughout this whole series, where they've had words that weren't attached to what we were looking at, but important to the scene nonetheless. And the lettering by Corey Petit has been next level. And he took it even to another level in issue 6 when they brought in Legion. Like, and we're gonna go way in depth on this. We both love this so much, but since I'm talking about his lettering already, when they were inside Wolverine's mind, did you notice that everything that said was not in a bubble?
Yes.
So, because it was in his head, he was just hearing it. No one was saying it. He was hearing it from Legion.
Yeah.
And I don't get blown away much when it comes to really good art. Like I don't think there is that much super next level art that is in a lot of comics these days. And issue 6 of Ultimate Wolverine was just stunning. Like like we're talking about, because what happens is Wolverine gets beaten up by Sabertooth, but right before he's gonna make the final blow, and we got to see him unmask his big old beard, Natasha Romanoff comes in and puts him down with a trank. And then they take him back to where they were going to take those kids, the little mutants that he had, the Underground Mutant Railroad, to the Resistance. So when they get to the Resistance, Legion goes into James Howlett's mind, where he is basically imprisoned because of what the Rasputins have done, and maybe a little bit what Kitty did. I think Kitty may have tried to free him and just made it worse, because he kind of was like really kind of nuts after that.
Well, he went back and they like
Scrambled
it again. Yeah.
Like, and I think like how they depicted that prison of his mind with Legion, I keep saying it because it was that good. Like, after reading those panels, I was just like, this might be book of the year. Like, I loved it up until this point, but like once that happened, I was like, yeah, this is in contention now. That whole 6th issue was just leaps and bounds ahead of anything I've seen from a lot of creators.
Yeah, that whole sequence of like Legion walking him through, escaping his prison. There's so much to dissect there, right? Like not only like the imagery of a prison, but a prison that is empty, right? There's nobody else in there. He's inside a cell in chains. He breaks off the chains, comes out of the cell, walks through this prison, and there's absolutely nobody in there. Like not only he's trapped inside his mind, but there's no memories, there's nobody else, there's no other voices. He is like inside his mind, completely alone, right? And when he gets out of like you could call it like the cell block where he was like staying, the only images that he runs into are the Rasputins and the Maker, like basically the people responsible for keeping him trapped inside his mind. And like you said, that small detail of the dialogue by Legion not being encased in a word bubble or a thought bubble is um it's intentional, because
Yep.
Wolverine lets out like a couple grunts or stuff like that, and those, even though it's inside his mind, those are encased in a word bubble, right?
Right.
So, and also it kind of like depicts the, like, it works to the depiction of the character of Legion, because um and we can get into this as deep as you want, but Legion is not a living breathing person. He's more
Right.
like a code in a digital program, right? And that's explained in the little report by the end of the book. Basically, the opposition had raided a hospital at one point, and they found that in one of the computers there was a code, like sending out signals that they could decipher. And once Beast, the mutant Beast, deciphered what it was, he finally got a chance to like message the code back and forward. And then eventually they realized that Legion was a person, and through the maker and their people, they put like, they, I don't know how they transfer his consciousness into computer coding. And once he was in there, his mind fractured into many, right? And that's
Yeah.
why he called himself Legion.
We
Like,
are Legion.
we are Legion, but now we are one, because with the help of Beast, he managed to um, fix the code, if you will, into making it one consciousness, right? So now all of these other personalities of Legion are one, are together, basically.
Right.
Not necessarily fused, we don't know, into just one personality, but they're all one, they're all together. And the best thing about it is that when they have soldiers or mutants that suffer mental stress or PTSD or anything like that from the war against their Rasputins, they give therapy or mental health healthcare, or provide mental health care to the opposition soldiers with Legion, just connecting them to this computer and having the code like unscramble or like help them through, like, process their trauma.
Right.
I mean, bro,
That's amazing. Like the concept alone, like like you said, we don't know how they did it, but I mean, this is, again, like I said, this issue 6, I'm reading it like, you know what? Yeah, this might be, this is in contention. Like this book is so good, and it keeps surprising you, and it gives you, like, this whole time they've had Wolverine not say a damn word except for in some flashbacks, and then finally, after having to fight himself in his own mind to get to finally break free, Legion helps Wolverine piece everything together, take out all the blocks, and he becomes James Howlett again. And what does this man say?
They're asking, hey, James, do you remember anything? And what he said.
I'm the best at what I do.
It's like, do you remember who you are? And then the next page, which is the last one, he just closed his eyes, pulls out the
Line of
the
all lines.
the blades, and then just drops the only line we needed
Yep.
up until this point.
And like I said, man, when I read that, I out loud was like, let's go! Let's go! I'm reading a fucking comic book, and I'm literally screaming like the Knicks just won the freaking NBA Finals. Like, that, I don't get that way about anything, really. You know what I mean? So this Ultimate Wolverine definitely got me hype. I've been really impressed from the writing, the story itself. The art has been amazing. Corey Petit, like I said, I'm going to keep shouting out his name because he did such a good job with the lettering, especially on these last two issues. Like, they were, like, I'm looking at that like, wow. Now that is one of the best letters in the game. Like,
And
that was beautiful.
you was right about the cross arms being the symbol of the opposition.
See?
I just looked at it, when he comes back to himself and they're in this facility, like there's flags, and they have like the symbol like all over, like
Awesome. Yeah, that makes
yeah, you
sense.
have there, like, and this is merely speculation because none of this is confirmed, but you see like people that look like Black Widow, Red
Yeah,
Guardian, Gambit. I don't know if this the lady with the green hair is Polaris, right?
could
Because
be. Yeah,
could be
definitely,
because of
definitely could look
mutants.
like. Yeah,
Somebody that looks like Bishop. There's a guy in the back that might be like multiple men. So this is where they are. That's like from now on, this like we're gonna get more
yeah.
mutant characters in this world. But
And
it's been
it
great.
looks so good. And I when I was looking up, some of the information for the episode, I did see that the next like main cover is like Magic and Wolverine fighting, and like, but like not just regular magic, like super I am a demon from hell battle
The Dark
armor
Child,
magic.
the Dark
Like,
Child.
oh man, I'm like super excited about that now. But yeah, I mean, we are a big fan of this title. I actually met Chris Condon at a Megacon this year. Well, this past year, I guess technically. No, yeah, this year. And he was really cool. I only had the first issue out by then, so I read. I thought it was really good, and I talked to him for a second. I was like, man, this is awesome. I'm really excited for this new Wolverine series. And he was like, man, thank you for buying it. I mean, I didn't know if anyone would like it. I was like, I whether or not he meant it, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like some people are like, oh, well, he probably
No,
just said that.
I believe it
Fine,
because
fine.
I saw him in an interview say that as far as the Ultimate Universe goes from Marvel, is the closest to, I think he said, creator owned comics, in the sense that he's allowed to do, you
What he
know,
wants.
for the most part, he say, okay, listen, these characters are being used over there. Outside of that, you can do whatever you want, right? Like, and I know this is true because Pichu Momoko said the same thing when Hickman and I can't remember who was the other person went to her to pitch her to get her to do Ultimate X-Men. She asked, okay, what are my left and right limits? And they said, well, you can use Spider-Man, you can use Wolverine, or at least James Logan Wolverine,
Right.
and you can use Black Panther, and then all the other characters that are already there that are not necessarily like plugged into a story like the Makers Council. You can do whatever you want, like Sunfire, Viper, and Samurai, Silver Samurai. You can do whatever you want with those because those
Yep.
are located in the region that you're going to be working in. You can bring whatever mutants you want except this one. Like that was basically it. And they've been, shout out to the editor, um, CB Cebulski or Kebulski. I mean, I don't know how to pronounce that. CB Cebulski. He is the editor in chief for the production of all the entire Ultimate line at Marvel. And
I mean,
the
they're all pretty
reason
good.
the reason why these stories are like kind of like parallel to each other and they haven't intersect so much, and there's not a lot of continuity plot holes or anything like that, is because they've been on top of this stuff, right? Unlike other publishers that just let the writers dictate their continuity, like DC. Uh, excuse me. Who said that? Do you you hear
Bro,
something?
I love how we both. For the record, that was not planned. We didn't talk about that beforehand. We've never done that, like synchronized like that. But the second, I was like, who said that?
Who said that? No, but
But yeah,
it's been really good.
I'm nothing but impressed, and I can't wait for the next issue. You know what I mean? Like that's a sign of a good book when you're
Yes.
like because I'll be frank, I forgot to read all the books you're talking about until today. So I literally read 5 and 6 of Ultimate Wolverine and issue 2 of Exquisite Corpses in like the last like 3 hours. And I'm still right now like, yo, I can't wait for that next Ultimate Wolverine. Like Exquisite Corpses, I can't wait for that next issue. Like they're so good. And do you have any final thoughts on Ultimate Wolverine before we move on to Exquisite Corpses?
Uh, no, I'm very much looking forward to what's going to happen now that James has regained his memories and his consciousness. I'm sure we're gonna see a big confrontation with, like you said, Magic, maybe all the other members of the Rasputins or whatever. So I'm excited. Like this all been building up to that moment where he turns or he like comes back and fights everything. And there's so much stuff that we don't even know what's going to happen with like the whole Phoenix project with Jean Grey and the Cerebro
oh my God,
of this universe. Like
that was what issue 3, right?
Yeah.
And then just nothing about it ever since.
No. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, there's a Cerebro in this universe, and he's powered by the Phoenix, and the mechanics we use to control it are the actual brain of Xavier, Professor Xavier. But we'll talk to you later. Bye.
And that's again, that's a sign of a really good story. Because how did I forget that? What he did was he gave us dropped it, and then went back to the story. I forgot about that, and that's so. Chris Condon, you're awesome.
Yeah,
bravo. Okay, now from one great writer to another, who is at this point, give him the freaking title. This is our GOAT. Like you might say, some of the older people who've written more than him might be the greatest of all time, but in our generation, James Tynion is the GOAT. And him and Mike Walsh have created a great series called Exquisite Corpses. Now, to set the scene for what this book is, it's basically the
I got you.
Go ahead.
I got you.
Because you said it perfectly. I was trying to like.
I got you. This is basically, imagine the Hunger Games mixed in with the Purge, locked into the Nightmare of on Earl Street. Okay,
I like that.
Why? Because it's the Purge. Because you have like a sort of death tournament where people are killing each other, right? It's also the Hunger Games because the people fighting in this tournament represent some wealthy families, and the actual tournament is entertainment for these wealthy families, right? Like there's these 13 families that have been controlling the world from the shadows, and like every 5 years they do this tournament to pick to determine who's going to be ruling or be in charge for the next 5 years, right? So they reconvene this tournament every 5 years, and then the Nightmare on Elm Street, part of it is that it's a horror comic, it's a slasher, but they're basically locked into this little town and nobody can escape.
And the people who live in the town were not evacuated.
They don't know what's going on.
They were just left there. They took the cops away.
Yeah, this is secret. The town has been the perimeter of the town, the exits and whatnot are secure. Like there's people watching that nobody can leave. Right. So yeah, I don't know if that's what they had in mind when they put the concept of it together, but that's the best way I can explain to people that know those projects, those movies, and haven't read that many like slasher horror comics, right?
I also think that it's genius how it's every 5 years, so they can do this again, this whole series over again, and the rich families, they each get to pick a card, and they have to their killer has to represent that card, and that can change every single time. So like Tynion has basically carved himself this ravine of unlimited stories in this little genre he's created, and I think it's absolutely brilliant because you can always, they're going to have new killers every year. You're going to have new dynamics every year. Well, every 5 years. But
let me go down the list really quick. So the 13 families, like you said, they pick from, at random the cards that are going to represent the weapons their avatar are going to use in the tournament, right? So you have the rope, you have the hammer, you have um, the hands, like a strangler. You have the knife, the poison,
The
the
gun.
axe. You have electricity. You have fire. You have explosives, and uh, what was Lady Carolina? What was her card? The arrow. Was it the
Yeah.
arrow? Okay, yes, the arrow. And you have the sword, and the gun is the last one, I think.
And that's the
Yeah, that's
sword
the 13.
is that guy. Oh, that lady or them.
Yeah, the fox mask killer.
So dope.
Yeah. So like you said, like every family um gets to they have to find a killer that is specialized on one of these, killing tools. And
Yep.
every 5 years is going to change. Also, I can't help but to see, reading between the lines and interpret some of this stuff, right? Like the fact that the families, because like they were at one point, they were, back in the colony era, they were the 13 most powerful families, right? And instead of being at war with each other, right, what do rich powerful people do? They collaborate, they work with each other, they are at least cordial, and
To an extent.
to an extent, but they are willing to, set aside their differences to stay in power, to maintain this power, which is kind of like, an allegory to real life. Like,
Yeah.
for as much as division and political discourse that is out there, rich people support and back the same causes, the same
Yep.
people, the same ideals. So, um, of course, there's a lot of um, social and political commentary
Yeah.
by James Tynion. He's a great writer. You can't be a great writer if you're not saying something through the story you're telling, right? Like
Correct. Right.
there's always a messaging, right? This whole thing that books or comics are not supposed to be political. Maybe the only reason you never thought comics were political, because your own personal beliefs in politics never were challenged, or these things just went over your head. And now
Yep.
you're finding out that writers had agendas, that writer had messages, that writers had politics that pour into the writing. It's it's inevitable, right?
Just do some research on the X-Men.
Right, bro. Let me say this.
What?
Let me say this. Every opportunity I get, I'm gonna say this. People that complain that comics are political, and then with the other side of their mouth, they will say that they've been fans of the X-Men since the 70s, the 80s, or the 90s. I'm sorry, like all of these comics are gone over your head.
Yep.
Bigotry, racism, prejudice are the core themes of X-Men comics.
Yep.
You know why in the Marvel universe people discriminate against mutants, but they don't discriminate against other people that have powers? You know why?
Well, I would.
You know why? Yeah, go ahead.
I would say probably it's because they are looked at as the next level of the species, and they immediately look at themselves and hate the fact that they're not them, and then they have to use that their own rage and bigotry to belittle them.
Okay, you're correct. You're correct. What I'm trying to get at is, I hear all the time people say, "Oh, like I can't suspend my disbelief," or it doesn't make sense that people accept Spider-Man but don't accept mutants. I'm like, buddy, because X-Men are like a walking, talking allegory for bigotry. And in real life, bigotry also doesn't make sense. That's the whole point of it. That's been the whole point all along. And you've been reading 30 years X-Men comics, and you still don't get that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
there's no political agendas in comics. Do me a favor again and tell me Magneto's origin.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Like, or how about Superman's origin?
Mm.
Captain America. What's that real famous cover of Captain America? Was he punching some guy that had some crazy stickers on the other side of over there? You know what I mean, with the little mustache, right? I'm not gonna say it because we definitely gonna get that. We're not monetized as it is.
Didn't we have like a whole team of heroes that assemble to go fight in the war called the Defenders? Didn't we didn't have the Howling Commandos, the Creature Commandos? No. What you thought Sergeant Fury comics were about? War? You thought that was all Nick Fury was doing in World War II?
Yep, that's it. No, that's it.
Yeah. You think Justice Society just joined the war because of it? Because, there's a war, we had to fight. Why? Why were they fighting?
Because they're superheroes. They fight against evil and bigotry.
Why do you think Wakanda in Marvel is the only city in the continent of Africa that was not colonized? You think they were trying to tell you something there?
Listen. And that's the thing. We got way off topic. We were talking about Exquisite Corpses, but this is something we absolutely had to say. I don't care. To say, and they kind of extend that. Oh, this is political now to almost everything. Things are the way they are because that's the way they are. Politics are woven into the fabric of every single thing we do, whether it's your job, whether it's going to the grocery store, everything. There's always something that is politically infused. How many freaking political TV shows are there? How many political commercials do you see every year during the election time, and only during election time? Like, come on, people. Like, no. This is not something new.
Listen, you might not care about politics, but your landlord does care. Mm-hmm. The people that own your apartment complex care. Your supervisor, the CEO of your company cares about politics, right? Your police commissioner, right, cares about your local sheriffs cares about politics.
Right? Hey, didn't Lex Luthor become president? Oh wait, didn't freaking Thaddeus Ross become president? Oh no, but politics should not be in comics ever. Shut the fuck up. Like, god damn. Like, I've had it this shit's been bubbling over for a while now. Like, because it continuously happens. Bro. We see things like we're talking about Ironheart. I honestly, in my opinion, I don't see how anyone can hate on it besides a reason that is not about the show and it's about your personal beliefs or anything like that. I told
you 30 minutes into the show launching.
No, before you said it was before.
No, yeah, before they were like how you say, like, people had like their reviews on Q, right? And the moment the show launched, like, immediately they started flooding with reviews, right? 30 minutes into the show going live, right? There's 3 episodes. They have already reviews in there for all 3 episodes in 30 minutes.
Impossible.
I had this friend of mine from Hopkins Comics, Maddie. He said that review websites that, that kind of like take reviews from critics and from fans, that there should be a way where, like, you link your subscription platform, and if you have not watched the show, like, reviewing the show or the episode is locked until you at least that. Right? There has to be, because bad faith actors are gonna do what they do, right? Yeah. Like, people that troll are gonna do what they do, but if there's at least a mechanism to alleviate that or postpone those type of things, I think they should look into it, because if you know that your website is being used to spread hatred or spread, like, there's reviews in there where people say, this is shit, and then somebody comments on their review and they say, no, I haven't watched it because it's woke. So why are you reviewing it? What are we doing here, bro?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know at this point. You know what I mean? Like I really like. It's come to my attention, obviously, that while we have never had more access to information, technology, and all of that, somehow the mass majority of people have all of that information and then just don't use it.
Let me give you some stats here for the people who are watching. Okay, are you ready for this?
I don't think so, but go ahead.
Okay. Last time I checked, 53% of adults, from the ages 18 and up, 53% of adults in the United States read at a 4th grade level or lower. And 50% of adults have the reading comprehension skills of a 6th grader or lower. That's why
it's just going to get worse.
Listen, I know sometimes I complain that shit goes over people's heads, right? We just did earlier, right? Like media literacy is not a thing if you're not literate.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
Right?
That's sad. That is sad.
I didn't mean to like drop this on you and ruin the rest of your night, but that's where we are. And it's not getting better.
No.
Students, even at the college level, are relying on AI to do projects, to read books for them, to do summaries of stuff, right? Kids in school, high school, middle school, are getting graded at a lower on a lower curve.
Oh yeah,
right.
I saw, bro. I'm a straight A student now, motherfucker. Like damn, like.
So it's not gonna get any better. So read a book, read a comic. If you don't understand what's going on, or you hear other people's perspective or opinions, and you think, oh, it's not that deep, or I didn't see that, ask why they see that. Like I do it all the time. Like I'll be on Legal Comic Geeks asking people that I understand are have some good takes. I'll be like, oh, I didn't see that there. How did you come to like that interpretation? Right. And get other people's perspective, learn other worldviews of the text, of the story, broaden your understanding of media. It doesn't have to be comics. You can do it with, video games. You can do it with movies, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, it is that deep, right? A lot of these stories carry real life connotations, real life allegories, right? That are that deep, that are serious, and people are just exercising or put it into a more digestible way, things that happen in real life. Just because they're wearing tights and capes doesn't mean that the message of those stories is not as powerful as as real life stories, right? All this shit comes from somewhere. So
no, I saw an interview. I can't remember who it was, but they were basically saying that comics are a lot of people's introduction to morality. Oof. Because I will make sure when I publish the episode,
oh my god,
it will be in the who said that, because I have it on my I'm gonna look it up. But yeah, dude, I heard that and was like, just like you just reacted, I was like, wait a minute, yo, he got a point there, because you learn through comics at a young age what a hero does, what a good person will do, what a bad person will do. It teaches you to, like, if someone does something over and over again, that's basically who they are, kind of thing. Like a leopard doesn't change their spots, or whatever terminology you want to use. And yeah, when I heard that, I was like, damn, that's so facts. Like damn, like bro, that's bars.
Those are bars. That's tough. Oh right? My god, bro.
I almost lost it. But okay, I'm gonna put the brakes on because we went so far off the rails.
Exquisite Corpses Issue 1.
But yeah, back to Exquisite Corpses. Thank you for dealing with that rant. I think it was necessary. I think we kind of had to say that. But when we talk about Exquisite Corpses, one of the things I want to definitely bring up is a trend that we're seeing a lot of recently, with polybags and blind bags and everything. And it's really funny because I was supposed to have a pipe bomb about this. Like, I got so mad for the Battle Beast blind bags with the 1 in 2000s. How so many things just drove me nuts, and I saw so many people throwing money at it and not doing well and getting crappy A cover blank in 4 packs,
bro.
and
shout out to Kody collects, because he bought like 5, I think, and 3 of them were blank covers. And our hearts go out to you, Kody.
And it's funny because people are I think I did the research. I think it was like 400,000 copies of the blind bags were sold. So everyone's saying, they go, wow, and Battle Beast sold better than expected. No shit, when you have this freaking gambling system you got going on with these blind bags, of course people are buying 4, 5, 10, 20, 30 copies to try to get these 1 in 2000s, which there's no fucking way they're actually 1 in 2000s, because it's just unless there are literally 200 Ryan Otley sketch covers that just have not been found.
I haven't seen him.
I've seen like 10. Okay, that's just not one in. And now anyone who doesn't know why I'm so upset about this, when you say something is a ratio 1 in 2000, normally that would mean that the retailer would have to buy 2,000 of them to unlock one. Okay, so if these sketch covers that Ryan Otley did are 1 in 2000, if there was 400,000 copies, that would be 200 sketch covers.
I don't think he did 200 sketch covers.
I don't either.
That's just
wrong.
Me.
And we've talked about this. We don't know, and that's partially why I didn't say anything up until now. We brought it up, and I gotta kind of rub it in some people's faces, because for issue 2, I only bought 1 polybag of Exquisite Corpses, and I got the foil, baby. I got a foil. But and we brought this up because and we spoke about this earlier. I understand from a retailer's perspective on why you would do this. I mean, it sells. It's a game. It gives people a reason to buy 3, 4, however many copies. But as a community, if we keep buying all of these copies, you want to know what's going to happen? They're going to show up at Ollie's and at Dollar Store and at all these places that have these books. 400,000 copies of Battle Beast. I mean, how many of those are going to be sitting at comic shops when someone buys a collection? There's 400 of them in there.
Yeah,
like
they're gonna turn into like the Youngbloods and the
X-Men, the ones that there's like a billion copies of.
Yeah, all of those couple of books that
didn't we learn in the 90s that
Brigade, Youngbloods, the Wildcats, all of those books from the Image that sold like millions of copies on the first issue, and especially like the Rob Liefeld comics, they sold millions of copies on the first issue, and then the next couple of issues, nobody bought them because they took too long to come out. So, comic shops ended up sitting on them, and still to this day they're sitting in someone's bargain bins, dollar bins.
Yep.
Or they're packaging one of those $5 surprise bags. Like, come on.
See, and at least with the Exquisite Corpses blind bags, all it really is the cards. Everyone automatically gets a card, and some will have foil cards.
Yeah, and the cover itself is a little different. Like the color, it goes from like black to like orange on the first one, and the second one is like green. Yeah. So it's a variant, but you also get the card. I think the popularity of Exquisite Corpses mainly relies on, you know, the work, the story, the art, the characters, the whole concept of it. But a huge part of it too is like the marketing that's behind it, because not only you are telling a great story, but you are pitching that this story is going to be like a trading card game or a
Mm-hmm.
tabletop game within a year, when the series is
This
over.
fall, it said. So like
Oh, even
we're
better, right? And
talking
then,
like in a couple months kind of thing.
right,
Like
and I'm sure,
crazy.
uh, um, if you don't buy the polybags, right, you you probably can buy like another version of like the cards when it comes out. So
Yeah, so
they're
what's
figure.
gonna happen? And I went deep in on this because my brother's a big time trading card TCG player. Shout out to my brother. He's actually gonna compete in September in Texas.
Beast. He's a
He's
beast.
killing it. But what these are, so this is one of them. This is from issue 2. This is what they're gonna call. It's gonna end up being an alt art. So when the game comes out, it'll be the same cards, same abilities, same everything, but it'll have different art. So this is, and like, see, it's got the back. So it's literally a game that you're gonna play, and not for nothing, but I've also heard rumors that he's already working on the screenplay.
So I put it on a back and board, but
Yep.
that's basically number one. And then number two, I took the little cardboard that's on the polybag and kept it.
Yeah, I did the same. I did the exact same.
Yeah. I think I have them like behind it. So listen, at the end, also another like cool idea that helps spread word on this book is that the tournament bracket at the end of
Kind of gets like a March Madness feel.
Yeah, you get like a March Madness feel to it, right? So I know people are like putting Discord servers to invite people so they can place bets and do picks and do brackets or who's gonna win the whole thing. Bro, that's genius marketing. That is genius.
That's what you said. I want to show them because it's really cool. Hold on.
So, and then at the end of the issue, they show you like who got killed, who passed on,
like
who they're gonna face next,
and like so
that is brilliant.
Yeah, the main concept is, of course, for the power, but these rich families also do all these little kind of side bets too. So like first kill is a side bet that they do, and then this one lady, they hate whoever, I can't remember her name, the one who is with the lone gunman. They hate her so much that not only are they trying to win to get power, they also have a side bet going for whoever kills her avatar.
Yeah. The
like,
lady
just
from
know,
Massachusetts.
no matter whoever does it, it was me.
Yeah, and that's commentary by James Tynion and the creative team on how gambling has evolved in sports in America, right? Because people are able now not just to bet who wins and who loses, but how many points somebody scores, how many rebounds. Is so and so is gonna miss their first layup again? Like there are
leg parlays.
Yeah, it's insane.
I'm glad I don't gamble at all, because I that's something I would go down the rabbit hole and lose a hell of a lot of money doing. I can tell you, because I'm like, I know I can do one more parlay. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna hit it. I know. I've been researching for months.
Bro, I never even bought like one of those scratch ups. I don't mess with gambling in any level. Any level. No, I don't buy lotto tickets. I don't do scratch ups. I don't do any of that.
See what's gonna happen here? One day you're gonna buy a scratch off and become a millionaire and be like, see, I should have been doing this the whole time. But when it comes to Exquisite Corpses, when they have this really awesome when you're reading it, it reads like you're watching a TV show.
Yes.
It's so cinematic, and it's clear why this, because before this book came out, before I even accepted to do the exclusive, even we talked about how Forbes, the magazine about money, did a story on this, and we were like, why? It's a comic book. What's going on here? Now we find out. Card game, great marketing, great, one of the best writing and art teams for, especially in horror. You talk about horror, they're the number 1 and 2 right now. Okay, anyone says that, I think they're wrong.
If it's not number 1, it's maybe it's behind something else.
James
Tynion,
like
James Tynion wrote too. So
he's got the top 15 horror titles right now. Like, don't mess with this man. Like, he is the shit.
If you run into James Tynion, shake his hand and say, "Have a nice day," and just keep walking. Don't try this, man. Okay, this is the stuff he writes for fun. Okay,
right. Like, and one thing I really loved about this story is they not only introduce us to all of the, the rich people and the killers, but they also sprinkled in a few regular people in the town to give us something to like worry about. Because like if even though we knew they were there, they put a name, put a job, put like all these different connections to where now you actually feel like one of the characters who's not one of the killers, she's in an ambulance. She drives an ambulance. And like all around them, little by little, these killers are showing up that don't all look like the crazy killers you might think. You know what I mean? Like,
we forgot to mention that this is happening in Halloween night.
Oh yeah.
So the killers are blending in with the crowd because it's Halloween.
And then like even in the second issue, because one of the bad guys is dresses up like a nurse. So like he's just there next to a dead body and is like, "Hey, let me join you guys."
Yeah, the ambulance left. Can I get a ride? And all along, he's the poison killer, Nurse Pete.
And he wants to go to the hospital so he can get his goods. And that's another cool idea I like about this is they throw the killers in without anything, and they have to go get everything. But wait, now I think about it.
I think like
the gunman. How did the gunman get his shit so early?
I think there was like caches in different areas of the town, and they have to like get to like their guns. But some of them didn't. Like, Nurse Pete, he had to figure out a way to make it to the hospital because he couldn't get to his cache quick like some of the others did.
Or well, actually no, because the only person we saw, I guess the hammer guy did actually have a hammer.
The hammer guy, yeah.
Because I'm thinking, because I know the gunman had his gun and his whole suit of art, like his body armor, his like all the standard military garb.
Yeah, he had everything.
So, and I'm thinking like, wow, man, because the other guy in this issue,
the congregation,
the Blade, he was complaining the whole time while massacring a dude that, all I have is this razor blade, like, and he's just so mad. It's like one body and it's already dead. And then Pretty Boy. How about this? I'm gonna tell you what. Pretty Boy shocked the hell out of me because when I saw Pretty Boy for the first time, I'm like, really? That's one of the killers? Bro.
Right.
He came in and just absolutely murked him. Broke his I'm like, he literally just broke that bone out his body. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And that was so cool with the clerk was like, "Hey, let's get out of here." Like, what?
Yeah, this book is very graphic. It's not for children.
Like in the first issue, the last panel, the first kill was the gunman shooting the hammer through the back of his head, and you see like all this is missing, and you see the gunman behind him. It was like, I was like,
on the other side,
that's beautiful. Oh, so good. Like, and that's the thing. I'm a huge fan of horror. If you can't tell, anyone who doesn't know, I am writing a zombie apocalypse comic book my damn self, so I better like horror. But this is not just a scary title. It's definitely, like you mentioned earlier, it's more of a slasher and more of this new age horror that we have, like The Purge and things like that, where it's just kind of just taking rules and throwing them out the window for a little while, letting some crazy people be crazy. Like, and I think that itself, even though only the rich people are watching it, I think that's also a commentary on society as a whole today. Like we're almost back to the gladiator days, man. Like we're almost to the point where we're going to throw people into a ring and just say, "Kill each other. Let's watch." And we'll bet on it how many times they get cut. Like it's one of those things where I'm just like, man, this book is so good on so many different levels, literally, because of how many layers that he has to this shit. Tynion's just that good, and every time I get to meet him, I tell him that I'm like, "You're like the greatest. I love you. Thank you so much." Like, and he kind of looks at me, he's like, "Okay, thanks, man." Like another weird nerd. Like, oh man, but I have all of the exclusives I've done. They've either been people I know personally or James Tynion books. Like I have a World Tree, I have a Dracula, and now Exquisite Corpses. I have 5 total exclusives. Like, three of them are James Tynion books. But yeah, this is talk about 2 books I think should be up in many people's obviously to read lists. But also I think these 2 are highly likely to run away with some awards come award season, because these 2, Ultimate Wolverine, Exquisite Corpses, are, in my opinion, I know I'm not reading a lot of books, so a lot of people are like, oh, he doesn't read enough to say something like that. I know quality when I see it. And these 2 books are leaps and bounds ahead of what I expect in this era of comic books. Like they're like, I kind of expect to be let down when it comes to a lot of things nowadays. Ultimate Wolverine, Chris Condon, James Tynion, Exquisite Corpses, nothing but net.
Yep.
Net.
Yep.
I can't say enough about how good the Exquisite Corpses is, and it's very graphic, but not just to be graphic. It's very graphic for a reason, because it's trying to be as realistic. Like, you put guys who are excited about slicing someone up with a box cutter in like
sociopaths, serial killers,
like assassins,
special
like
ops
people,
dudes, like stranglers, people that skin people
like,
alive.
These are the craziest and the most dangerous and most brutal people on the planet, and these rich people just throw them into some unknowing community and just say, have fun, whoever wins, I'm in charge. Like,
for shits and giggles, they're literally having like a martini party while watching the slaughter go through the night. It's insane.
And I'm another one. I just finished reading it. They came in, the Exquisite Corpses 2 came in very late, like right before the show, and I read it and was so excited.
I could, because we was talking about just going over issue 1, because you still hadn't read issue 2, and it just came in a couple hours prior.
I only had to buy 1 to get the foil, baby. To get the foil, baby. Pretty boy.
I am hating so much right now.
I love you too, yeah. I love you too. But man,
thank God you showed me that before we started, because I would have F-bombed all over the show. We would have been, you would have spent hours just bleeping that one segment.
Another one.
You say, hey, here, I'm just gonna go ahead and clip this whole thing out. Are you okay with
There's
that?
like 35 minutes of just 200,000 F-bombs.
It's just one long bleep. I don't know what to do.
I saw a vein popping out on your head that I never seen before. Like, but
it's me tossing my collection up and down.
I'm never talking to you again. Podcast over. It's like for a Big Bang. No, How I Met Your Mother. You broke up with a porn star? Friendship over. But yeah, do you have any? I think you have any further thoughts on Exquisite Corpses or anything we talked about today?
No, man. It's been really cool. Everything about it. I love the enthusiasm. The community, people reading it, talking about it, making all these tournaments and all that stuff. That's great. I think that's, comics is in a good place. Thanks a lot to, things like Exquisite Corpses and creators like James Tynion IV. So if you like slashers, check out Exquisite Corpses. If you haven't checked Ultimate Wolverine, we highly encourage that you check it out. It's a really good book. And That's it. That's pretty much like they have my personal endorsement.
And I don't like having the top 5 or top 10, but if there was a Planet Nerdtooine top 5, these two books, Ultimate Wolverine and Exquisite Corpses, are definitely on it. But yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. These two books are fantastic. I'm very choosy who and where I spend my money, and I'm that meme from freaking Futurama. Take my money. I'm on for the long haul. Like these books are fantastic. So definitely shout out to Chris Condon, the entire creative team for Ultimate Wolverine. Shout out to James Tynion, Michael Walsh, who did the art. Fantastic creator in the space. I think a lot of people don't realize how important he is to a lot of these great horror stuff that's been going on. Like the Universal Monsters, he did a whole connecting cover set. He actually wrote and drew Frankenstein of that same Ultimate Universal Monsters series, and he's like kind of
I think the Mummy is the one that is coming
Mummy.
out right now.
I know he did a cover for that. I don't know if
Yeah,
he did the art for it, but yeah, that's the new team to watch. Tynion and Michael Walsh. If they're on it, sign me up. Simple as that. But with that being said, anyone who's still here, we greatly appreciate you. We, even with our rant that we went off on, we still came in at just under an hour and a half, or around that time, depending on how long I blabber on. But again, if we do reviews, critiques, we talk about new happenings in the comic book community, as well as any breaking news or anything that we feel is important, or even to shed a different perspective for what you might be used to when it comes to the creation of comic books, the buying and collecting, doing what you love versus what someone tells you to love, this kind of stuff that we do here. And if that's your thing, do us a favor, like, share, subscribe. It does really well for the algorithm, and it makes us so much happier than you could possibly imagine. But on that note, until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.